Mutazita Banakusi, we are doing a hockey draft on a football show. Oh shit, it's Aaron. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, man?
We don't do intros anymore, so go ahead, introduce yourself, tell the people where they can find your stuff.
I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. You can find me pretty much everywhere. League Winners, Player Profiler, DLF, King Fantasy Sports, Fantasy Pros, Mad Science Lab Podcast, Rat Pack Fantasy Football Podcast, pretty much everywhere. And tonight, Fantasy Hockey Draft. You can find me there. Don't know why, but you can.
Hell yeah, because I roped you into it. You mentioned on the Wild Card Wednesday that we did that you're into hockey even a little bit, and I was like, hockey?
This is how I started, though. I did fantasy hockey. I only got into football during the pandemic when my hockey league collapsed.
Well, I honestly, so this is cool. I'm going to use this too to like kind of announce that coming up on the Wild Card Wednesday. So it's going to be like, I always pre-record those, as you know, like way the far out. The guys from Five Hole Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the Taxi Squad, one of the hosts of the show, Craig, he's going to be on Wild Card Wednesday. I'm expanding to fantasy hockey content creators, and it's funny because it's just like I have the fantasy hockey bug just in general.
I did this last year. I got comfy. I wasn't doing a whole lot. I was doing a little bit during the season, but it got slow. And I had a guy, the guy who runs Stadium Ring, and I said, you know what? Hey, man, you don't look like you have anyone doing hockey. Can I write hockey for you? And he's like, yeah, that'd be awesome. I wrote like 4 articles, and after not doing hockey for 3 years, I messaged him like, I don't think I can do this, man. I'm like, I put too much time into football and I am far too rusty in hockey. I don't even know what's going on. So like I wanted to, but it's amazing how quickly it can change in 3 years where it's like, oh, that guy plays there now. And I'm just like, that guy was a third liner last time I watched hockey. Now he's like I forget who it was, but I just seen someone in the first round of our draft where I'm like, that guy was a top 5 pick. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, no, it's crazy how much has changed just like in terms of players, which happens in football too. But like when it comes to the hockey stuff, I'm a bit of a jamoke where it's like I don't even know like the teams that are like in the divisions or anything. I very much am just like straight fantasy for the hockey stuff. But we won't belabor the point too much. We'll jump into a little bit of football. And we'll start with, I always start, it's kind of like fantasy receipts out here. We start with, what did I get wrong?
I'm stupid. You're smart. I was wrong. You were right. You're the best. I'm the worst. You're very good looking. I'm not attractive.
All right. As long as you're willing to admit that.
What did I get wrong? Well, Jordan Addison sucked. That killed me in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, the biggest one for me is Najee fucking Harris and this goddamn forsaken Steelers offense. I can't take this shit anymore, my guy. So you express to me like what you see from the fucking Steelers, because like obviously as a fan, I'm deep in it and it's gloom and doom. Like there's not even a silver lining I can take from this. Talk me off the ledge if you can, or just pile on. Go ahead.
Jump.
Yeah.
Jump. You know what the funny part is? Despite all the Jaylen Warren hype, Najee Harris has actually been the more efficient player of running back there. This whole thing sucks. So it looked like Dr. Chow's preliminary assessment was Kenny Pickett at minimum MCL, which is 4 weeks. And if it's also ACL, he's done for the year. That might be good, but who was the backup? Was it Rudolph? I forget who their backup is. Trubisky? Oh, that's not much better.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it literally doesn't even matter. And the offense that Canada runs makes me so fucking mad. I'm like,
well, so that might be the worst part of the offense is that it continues to be run by Matt Canada. So, Like,
He's-
fuck, what are we doing?
Yo, he's basically running the like Left for Dead Ben Roethlisberger offense that like sucked for the last 2 years of his career, and it's like now you're doing it with rookie and or Mitch Trubisky level quarterbacks that can't even run the fucking offense in any kind of competent way. The offensive line looks terrible. It's like, show this man a fucking I formation for God's sake.
I don't even know what to say to him. He's just it's so inept that you can't even begin to comprehend it. And between him and a shitty quarterback, I'm just out. I'm done with all the Steelers. I'm getting rid of my Jalen Warren shares. I didn't really have too many Najee Harris shares. Deontay, I've eaten a lot of through the first few weeks of the season. George Pickens, I sold. I don't know. I thought Kenny Pickett would come around. This team fucking sucks.
Is there anything you could do with Najee Harris? Because, like, so I'm someone who, and there's a lot of people out there who, like me, drafted tons of Najee Harris. And I even said, so on the Sunday live stream this morning, I went super early because I had shit to do today. And I said, you have to relegate at this point because you can't move him for, like, no value. You have to relegate Najee at this point to, like, an RB2, RB3, purely matchup based. And even then, hold your breath. And I was like, I would play Kyron Williams. I would play Zach Moss. I would play, like, I was rattling off names of who I would play above Najee Harris. And it's because I'm like you said, I'm fucking over it. Like, even with the Houston matchup, I just knew it was going to be just balls. The other one that sucks and just kind of surprises me overall is how bad the New Orleans Saints offense looks.
I'm a Saints fan.
That one
Well,
hurt.
I mean, Derek Carr, you knew once Derek Carr was announced that he was going to play, you knew this was going to suck. Chris Olave killed me too.
That's the one that really has me concerned. So I think a lot of people will be thinking like it's one bad game. In redraft, I'm full sell on Chris Olave. Like on anyone that you can sell in this offense, honestly, I'm fine with Kamara just because running backs are so bad. But it's like the fact that Kamara came in and he had like 13 receptions. It was something stupid. It was pure like PPR goodness, but that's kind of what usurped all the targets from Olave, and it's like there's not enough room in the offense for all of them to eat like together. I feel like on any given week. So I'm kind of out on the whole offense, and I feel like Olave though with the name value and the youth, and people expect a bounce back. You could still sell Olave. I feel like for a decent amount. I'd be looking to do that this week.
I don't think I'm selling Olave still. Like, I get it. They were bad this week, but Carr's not always going to be this bad. I think they should have just gone to Jameis Winston with the injury. But did the Jets get a safety? How did the Jets have 2 points? Did I miss a safety? What the hell?
I'm not even watching the game. I have zero
up.
interest in this Chiefs-Jets game. It's like I already know the outcome. This is like watching a squash match in wrestling. It's like, what's the point? Braun Strowman's out there wrestling a dude that has no name. I feel like I know what's going to happen.
Did I get auto-picked here, or did I make my last pick? I forgot we were doing a hockey draft in the middle of this. Oh, no, it looks like I made my last pick. Maybe.
Yeah, I had to pivot because, like, it's just an illness. Okay. That's the thing with hockey. I will say the thing with hockey is the injuries make no fucking sense to me. Dudes just pop up with random injuries all the time. I was doing a draft literally last week, and half these dudes that are like out now were not when we were drafting. But I think the other big thing that I got wrong really, Miles Sanders. You said Jordan Addison, just that kind of that whole game in general. Same thing with Chargers. Raiders kind of ended up being like not the receivers really that did anything. Josh Palmer was like ineffective. I wasn't really in on Quentin Johnston. I was like on the like very, very early preseason, but then when you kind of saw how it was playing out, I bailed out on that. So those are pretty much like the ones I got wrong. The ones that I got right though, fuck. There were a lot of
Quentin Johnston right. That was my victory lap. I sold him a couple of weeks ago.
See, well, there you go. You're gonna have a couple victory laps to go with me here.
Not the kind of person to say I told her so. But you know what? I told her so. I told her so.
What's that from?
That's Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, never seen it.
Fucking a total so. You haven't seen Trailer Park Boys? Okay.
No.
I will grant you the gift of Trailer Park Boys, my man. There's like a million references, like the best characters. It's all Canadian. It's like filmed in like East Coast, like Nova Scotia-ish area, like Halifax. Dude, it's the funniest fucking show ever. And there's like 14 seasons. And they legitimately like get like way better until about season 11 is where it starts to actually tail off a little bit, but they're still like funny. But dude, the first 11 seasons of Trailer Park Boys is some of my favorite TV of all time.
Okay.
But the thing I got right, and this is becoming my new favorite segment on the show.
Things I got right.
Scored more than Kyle Pitts this week.
Yeah, Johnny Smith. I love it.
Dude, Jonnu Smith crushed him, but these are the deep dive names I had to go get. Durham Smythe, Dalton Kincaid, the other rookie wonder that's done fuck all. Cole Kmet smashed. Cade Otton, Mo Ali Cox, Dalton Schultz, rise from the dead, Chigo Okonkwo, and Drew Ogletree.
Cole Kmet was fucking incredible. Okay, side note here. Is it weird that in this draft we're at pick 55 and I still have like I do my own custom projections just like I do for football. I'm just not as good at them because I've been rusty with hockey. Is it weird that 55 picks in my number 4 overall player is still on the board?
It depends who's that player.
I'll tell you when I pick.
Okay.
Oh, do you pick? What team are you?
I'm next. So yeah, wait.
Okay.
I'm probably not taking him.
No, he's not. If you go, he's not even on like the next. I don't even think he's on the board right now.
Oh, okay. Well then, yeah. Oh, man, decisions.
What's this draft? 25, 20, 21 rounds. I see. Never mind. You on the clock? Are you? It's fight night.
Yeah, I'm literally like I can't decide right now.
Okay, whoever's picking at 48, I love the name they had there, but they got it wrong. Isn't it Danbury Trashers? There's no S in it. I appreciate the funny name, but I think they fucked the name up.
Oh yeah, I think it is.
It's Danbury, not Danbury.
I was struggling there because I know that Barkov should be much better. And
Motherfucker, that was my 5 overall.
Oh,
that's what I was taking was Sasha Barkov.
Yeah. Well, Well, it's because he struggled with injuries a lot last year. I feel like that was kind of part of the problem. But yeah, Kyle Pitts and this whole Arthur Smith offense. Did you see the whole Toy Story cast? Did you see that?
I only got highlights of it because.
Hey, watch this. Watch the highlight. I'm going to throw this up for you right now so you can see.
And let's go. 3rd and 5. Trevor Lawrence to throw. Fires right sideline, incomplete. Just out of the hands of Evan Ingram, his tight end. Jeff Okudah in coverage.
Really good coverage there by Jeff Okudah. Playing man-to-man coverage. That's when you cover the man and not the zone. They call that man-to-man tight coverage, making that ball tough to fit in there. Good defense there by the Falcons.
Okudah's got good size at corner, 6'1".
Okay, so those I seen those highlights and that's it because in Canada I couldn't find it, and the one place that does have it is a subscription service that I don't subscribe to. But next time they do it, I think I'm gonna subscribe because my kid's seen just the highlights and thought it was awesome. But okay. Arthur Smith, everyone's giving him shit. His play calling isn't that bad. If you looked at him, he's using he's using the tight ends. Even Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is being more involved than any tight end in the game. The problem's the quarterback can't hit him when they draw it up.
I mean, yes. Okay. Yes, I agree to that part, but I disagree that he's using Kyle Pitts the way that Kyle Pitts should be used for the simple fact of how he's splitting reps and like targets and everything with Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith fits the offense, the 2 tight end sets that Arthur Smith is obsessed with running. That's not really Kyle Pitts' game. Like he would be much more effective as like another receiver in like 3 wide receiver sets where the tight end gets to kind of run up the seam and you've got spacing and like going downfield. That's not at all what's happening for this offense.
Well, this isn't the right offense for him, but I don't think
that's
it's
what I'm saying. Like I've been saying that since the offseason. So that's just the victory lap that I keep taking over and over every week. Is I get the perpetual victory lap on Kyle Pitts because he's been so bad. Man, I feel like I keep getting like really tough decisions, but I'm going to just keep with my normal strategy.
I feel like it gets to me and I have absolutely no clue. It's like, oh, this guy, last time I checked, I'm sitting there, I'm going, oh, I really want this guy, but is he still any good? I don't know.
So like one of the analogies I make in hockey is that you want to smash skaters because it's kind of like going just like heavy wide receiver where you're going to get like the biggest accumulation of points. And also just generally the way that hockey leagues are built are kind of like the way that 3 wide receiver leagues are built, where it's like you have the 3 wide receiver and 2 flex. So it's like every week you could be playing 5 wide receiver. You're more likely to get points from that than if you're sliding a low end running back into the flex, where it's like they're getting the floor. That's kind of like sliding a decent defender into your flex and like loading up on D-man, because those guys, no matter how good they are, they're only going to get like 80 points a year. And the other problem is like a lot of the leagues, so my league counts hits and blocks, but a lot of leagues don't. So this is where just, again, across fantasy in general, always just go look at scoring settings and the way that you can manipulate that. Because it doesn't matter if it's hockey, baseball, basketball, football, fucking horseshoes, paddleball, Quidditch, fucking whatever that weird game is, that they play in fucking India, fucking, soccer, fucking name it, slam ball, doesn't matter. Find the scoring and manipulate the shit out of the scoring. That's what I always say.
Yeah, and that's okay. So that's how I got into being an analyst. When I first started with this, it was casual fantasy hockey leagues where I'd go in like everyone else in my family league with my little magazine and my little paper printout of rankings, and they were generic ESPN's top 200 blah, blah, blah bullshit rankings. Then I learned I would get the edge by going in and doing exactly what you said. I would customize my rankings to the score sheets or to the settings. And then I would get in there and I'd be like, exactly like I said earlier. It's like, oh, wow, I have this guy ranked number 12. And then, ESPN has him ranked 53. And then, so I would pass on him. And then at the end of the season, I'd be like, well, shit, I wish I had taken that guy at 12. And I was right because the settings. So that's how I got into it. And it just drove me deeper and deeper. And that's how I got into football, because I find too many times people are using just generic rankings in their league, whereas you should be customizing. Like I have my custom base rankings and projection sheets. Those get customized for every single draft I do to fit, because they're not like, I'm sure, you're going to have the same basic order, but some positions are more valuable based on how many positions, the scoring settings. So that's why I'm all over the place with it.
100%. It's like every time I'm in the 3 wide receiver leagues, I feel like somehow wide receivers are still undervalued and people are like peppering running backs early. And it's like, you're going to have to start minimum 3 wide receiver. Like it almost like doesn't correlate until you're like actually in the thick of it. And I've been there where it's like I had 2 good running backs, but my wide receivers sucked and I was getting hammered every week and I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah.
It turns out 3 wide receiver in full PPR, like you actually really need wide receivers. Crazy how that works.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, it's the settings just are so important and it just gets so underrated. Like just check the scoring and the settings and figure out little ways that you can manipulate that.
Like you see it even in like family leagues where it's a 3 receiver league. 3 receiver league based on 2 receiver leagues, a big difference. And you see people, they're just like, oh, well, I'm stacked. You got them, their first 3 picks are running backs. And it's like, this is a 3 receiver league, right? Like you might want to stack up on receivers here. But what do I know?
Yeah, no. The other big victory lap that I get to take this week and kind of just on the season And I've been arguing. So you kind of touched on it too. It's been kind of the same story with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, even though it's just been awful for the whole offense across the board. But even still, the correlation of how Najee has outperformed Jaylen Warren, who is very much a complimentary back, exists within the Tennessee Titans. And I've been chuckling at all the Tajay snap percentage Spears truthers out there. This motherfucker went 8 touches for 9 yards last week, and I got to hear about his goddamn snap percentage. And I said, hold the line on King Henry. Play Derrick Henry this week. And what does he do? He's out there playing fucking quarterback because Ryan Tannehill can't. That's the only reason he's really struggled this year.
Oh, Jesus
so
Christ.
Derrick Henry, very big victory lap for me. Also, old man Adam Thielen. Everyone laughed at me in the preseason when I said draft Adam Thielen as much as you can in those double-digit rounds. He's going to be valuable. He's valuable with Bryce Young. He's extra valuable with Andy Dalton. So those are like two of my really big victory laps that I get to take. You got any off the top of your head that you can
Ken Walker.
Touting? What?
Ken Walker. Everyone said it all off season. Oh, this kills Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. No, it doesn't. Zach Charbonnet's not any good. Ken Walker. Ken Walker's the top 5 or 6 running back. Zach Charbonnet's a backup.
No, I agree with you there. Charbonnet is a valuable piece, like only in the instance of, God forbid, if anything happens to Kenneth Walker, which can happen to any player anytime. But 100% Seahawks running back just in general, doesn't matter what the name is on the jersey, just whoever's the starter getting the lump sum of carries is like super valuable.
Yeah. Well, he's looked better than I could have ever imagined. I didn't think he'd be this good, but he's been awesome.
Yeah, no. We'll run through just like the games. We'll just go really, really fast. Some of these games today, there really was not much to talk about or take away from.
Yeah.
I think one of the big ones, though, was Bills-Dolphins. I think it's funny how everyone was crowning the Dolphins, acting like the Bills, like, oh, the window's closed, like the Bills are done now. And it's like Josh Allen just came out and reminded everyone why he's the second best quarterback in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes. So the Bills-Dolphins, any thoughts on that game?
My biggest takeaway from that one was I was amazed at the fact that it looks like they just handed it all over to Devon Achane, and, Raheem Mostert is just useless. I mean, it's mostly just touchdown luck again, so who knows how long that lasts, but I really thought it would be more of a 60-40 split with Mostert in charge, but it was not the case today. Although, granted, like I said, a lot of the second half of the early games, I didn't get to see a lot of. I ended up going golfing with my kid. But I don't know. That one kind of shocked me. That's not how I seen the split shaken out. Well, the Dolphins, we knew this was going to happen. I thought they'd be a lot closer. We knew they weren't going to beat Buffalo by 50. But
yeah, no. Achane was definitely one that – it's funny because it's like I don't even take the full victory lap on Achane, even though I drafted him a crazy amount, because I kind of backed off of it when I – just like everyone, naturally, it's logical to watch this man – I was watching Salvin Ahmed look like him in the preseason. Like every time I thought it was Achane, it would actually be Salvin Ahmed. And there was like 5 running backs in this rotation. So I just was like, I had so much of him too already at that point that I kind of started hedging my bets of like, all right, I need to back off of this a little bit, or I'm going to tank all my teams with Achane. But it ended up paying off. So that's one of those ones that's like almost like the accidental victory lap for me.
yeah, I don't know. I don't. That one's confusing. I'm not sure how that's going to shake out. I thought this would be a committee, and I haven't seen all the usage to see when, who got what and when and who was involved where. But I don't know. I was really surprised at how much Achane outproduced them. But like I said, the 2 touchdowns could have been a major factor. I don't know. Maybe it was an even split, and maybe he just broke off the 2 long touchdowns. I haven't really had a chance.
Well, so the touchdowns were actually short. That's what's so funny. They were actually goal line work, and he had a long run. The thing with Achane is, I feel like in a running back by committee, he can still succeed because his touches can be so efficient that like on 10 touches he can get 100 yards easily because it literally takes 2 plays for him. He's like Tyreek Hill in the form of a running back. That's why I was so heavily investing in him like really early on. And then it wasn't until like in the actual preseason, some of those late drafts that I was still doing, I was like, oh man, Achane's like not getting any work, and then healthy scratch week 1. But I held strong. I just held on to him because that is one thing where I'm like, I'm not a very reactionary manager in the sense of like, I'm not like, this guy sucks after fucking like 3 weeks of football. I'm like, I'm usually like, it takes me a full season. And Derrick Henry, kind of the one that taught me that lesson, because I remember it wasn't like when he was still splitting with DeMarco. It was the breakout season. No one remembers that he sucked balls all fucking year. He was splitting with Dion Lewis, for Christ's sake. And by the way, that was Arthur Smith again running that offense. But it was like, it wasn't until, and I finally like lost my shit and I dropped him. And then of course, the moment I dropped him, he went off for that crazy 200-yard, like 4 touchdown game, and then just like went crazy running and never stopped. So it's like that kind of taught me a very important lesson of like, you can't just like bury a dude and his whole career after a bad start to a season even. And this was like 10 or 12 games deep. And then he just fucking went crazy, and he's been like one of the best running backs ever since.
No, I agree. I'm not really like, I'm not reactionary either. The few times where I find I get burned, I've even had it now where I'm sure I've dropped someone I didn't want to drop, but it's always a case of I have to drop them because I need, injuries pile up, and it's like, well, he's not producing, so I got to drop someone. I dropped a lot of Kendre Miller. I don't think I'm not out on Kendre Miller the last 2 weeks. I don't think he's, going to be a total write-off, but at the same time, I can't, with all the injuries on some of my teams, I can't afford to be stashing these shares of Kendre Miller, hoping he wakes up at some point.
No, exactly. And there are definitely players like that. Even though he had like a decent game today, Jahan Dotson is another one where it's like, I'd be trying to move off of that. There's just too many mouths to feed in that offense. But we'll skip to, let's like pick out, Vikings, Panthers kind of sucked. Bears, Broncos was hilarious. Let's talk about that. Poor Justin Fields had damn near a perfect game, just a fuck.
You surprised me there. I'm on the clock on the Yahoo draft, and when I clicked over, I thought an ad started playing on my Yahoo, and I'm going, I don't know how to turn it off, and then I clicked over and realized it was you playing the ad.
Oh, I'm sorry,
by surprise there.
Yeah, no, I do random drops like through the show just to kind of keep myself entertained more than anything, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you caught me off guard. I was sitting here trying to make my pick, and then I'm going, is that me? What did I do?
If anything, I bought you time for your pick.
No, yeah, I'm still in the middle of it here trying to figure it out, but But
yeah, the Bears Broncos game, that actually, so I thought that potentially that could end up being like a shitty low scoring game, and then it turned into like an awesome high scoring game, and then it turned into like a classic Bears game. My favorite tweet every week, I think, is when Seth Rollins sends out "I hate football." It's like that meme from The Simpsons where it's like, "Say the line, Bart."
Why does he hate football so much? I never understood.
Because he's a Bears fan, so every time the Bears lose, he sends that tweet. That's why it's so funny.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this goalie. Boston's goalie, Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, yeah. He's really good. The problem is he splits too much work with Ullmark, who last year. So, again, this is getting into the fantasy hockey stuff. You said you punt goalies. I do the same thing, and it's because of a guy like Linus Ullmark, who was a hot waiver ad last year. and then ended up winning the fucking Vezina Trophy, which is like the MVP for goalies.
I didn't punt goalie. I didn't know who to take, so I just double tapped goalie. So
Shit, I just realized I'm on the clock.
yeah.
I'm on the clock again. You know what? I haven't taken my boy Kopitar too many times.
He still plays.
Yeah, he's old, but he's still out there.
Fair enough. You know, I'm working while we're doing that. I'm flipping through Yahoo here because I have to do numbers for an article that I have ongoing. So I'm looking at my start percentages. Do you know this week Zach Wilson has the same start percentage as Aaron Rodgers in Yahoo Fantasy Leagues?
Oh God!
It's not zero. It's not zeros. It's 1%.
Yeah, it's like those are just ghost, like abandoned teams.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's brutal. So, we haven't really finished the Bears Broncos thing, but just quickly, like the Jets are dead, right? You can't do anything with any of them for fantasy.
Oh God, no. Well, I'm still starting Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver 3 or something like that. I'm not dropping him, but I want nothing to do with the running backs.
So I think I
streamer.
should drop them. Drop them all. This is for redraft leagues. If you have any of those players, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, Garrett Wilson, drop them. Just straight drop them, honestly. Because first of all, you're never going to know what week that you want to start them. There isn't going to be that week. Even in a positive game script matchup, it doesn't exist for them this season. As long as they're going to keep rolling out the bones of, like, I think the best you could do is hold till the trade deadline just to see if they actually do get somebody else competent. But otherwise, like, I would argue that you could drop them because somebody else is going to – if you drop Breece Hall the waiver, somebody else is going to go pick them up. And hopefully it's one of these teams that's, like, actually winning, and they start trying to use Breece Hall in their lineups, and then they start getting a couple L's here and there. You know, you can take the edge, I feel like, off a team by letting them have Breece Hall or Garrett Wilson. But
I'm still cool with starting Garrett Wilson and Tyler Conklin. I don't think Tyler Conklin's the worst streamer. I just seen him make a catch. It looked like a touchdown, but I ended up on the clock and didn't get to actually see it, so I don't know.
But yeah, jumping back to the gross off Bears Broncos, did you have any opinions on Javonte Williams too? That was one where I've been saying all year you can't start him, and it's unfortunate. Like, it's a miracle he was playing at all, but he got a hip flexor, so it's nothing serious or anything. But the fact is, like, a minor injury like that, minor bump on the hip, and they're like, you're done for the game. Anything like happens to this man and they're not going to put him back in. And then on top of that, it's like his ceiling is 12 touches for like 60 yards and maybe he plops into the end zone. So it's like, I don't understand the point of trying to start him, but Jaleel McLaughlin, I feel like it's going to be a hot ad off waivers. Have you had any thoughts, feelings, secret desires for Jaleel McLaughlin in this Broncos offense?
He's probably a waiver target for me, not a top one. I think most of the work came after Javonte went out. This was kind of like my, put up or shut up game for those two teams. Pretty much any team or any player on those two teams who didn't come through this week, if you didn't come through, you're gone. So it looks like most of them had usable weeks. I don't know. I don't mind picking up McLaughlin, especially if you have Javonte and you got to stash him, handcuff him, I mean. But no, I'm not all that high on him.
All right. Ravens, Browns, basically. Oh, just quickly on this game, DTR is not better than Voldemort, as much as I would have appreciated that. I think it's funny. I think we saw all the preseason hyped quarterbacks kind of got a dose of reality this week. Jerome Ford, too, has kind of sucked. So, I feel like you can, unless it's a really positive game script matchup, I wouldn't necessarily consider him anything more than again, RB2, RB3 matchup stream. Steelers, Texans, good fucking Lord, Matt Canada needs to be fired immediately. Nico Collins smashed. Tank Dell disappeared. Tank Dell was the hot waiver ad. they're in a flip-flop week, so I wouldn't be like getting rid of Tank Dell. CJ
No.
Stroud's looked amazing.
I said this on my show earlier. How long before this comes crashing down? But they're working the same way as the Jags are right now. 1 week it's Ridley, the next week it's Kirk. 1 week it's Dell, 1 week it's Nico. They're flip-flopping back and forth, playing hot hand.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just one of those things where it's like I survived the lineups where I put in Tank Dell, but I feel like it's funny because there were a couple times where I was like, do I put in Dell and Mims? And that felt too risky. So a lot of times I was just only putting in Tank Dell. And so I feel like I got lucky with that. Rams Colts kind of turned into a thing. Puka Nacua, holy fucking hell. Puka Nacua! This man's the wide
One of those Samoan wrestlers?
He sounds like it. I swear. He sounds like he could be right in the bloodline with Roman Reigns. Like it's him and
don't say that because I want to like him.
Solo Sikoa is the one that's like in the bloodline.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't give a shit. I love Roman Reigns. And I love that they did like the because it's funny because like for the longest time they wouldn't turn him heel when it was so clearly obvious like that's what they needed to do with his character for him to be able to like ascend to what he is. And now it's like now they were able to do like basically the Bruno run with him where they broke the Hogan record, which is crazy. He's had it for like 3 years. I know people hate it, but
he's still the type. See, that's why me and my kids stopped watching it. We got sick of watching Roman Reigns win every single one. It's like, oh, they're bringing back Cody Rhodes. This will be no, never again. So I would we stopped watching it.
Cody, I think so this is interesting. It was that was all a setup, right? The whole idea of Cody losing at Mania was for him to then come back at the next Mania and win it. And they in between did a really cool story with Cody and Brock Lesnar, where Brock Lesnar gave him the rub, like at SummerSlam, like literally showed him respect, which was like fucking cool. So it's like it makes sense, but now and it's funny because it was like kind of because of the writer's strike in the real world, but The Rock came back. I don't know if you had seen that on a recent.
I did.
Dude, it was insane. So The Rock came back, and now they're saying like, oh, The Rock wants to do Roman versus The Rock for the title and head of the table at Mania. Which, if that happens, then unfortunately for you, you're gonna have to watch Roman win again because that's why The Rock would be doing that. But if it's Cody, if they go triple threat, Cody's winning that title. If Cody gets into the main event this year in any way, he's winning that title.
But the best part of Attitude Era WWF was that the title could change for anyone on any given night. It made it unpredictable and entertaining. This night, it doesn't matter. Every night, it's going to be Roman Reigns who wins it.
Well, so that's why they did like the whole second title with Seth, which I personally am like not a huge fan of, but that's why that title exists, is like for them to be able to do what you said.
The Jets just doinked one and missed. Doink. And not the wrestler. Doink off the upright, no good.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like they're trying to kick a field goal at all is ridiculous. Like if I was the Jets, I would you're facing the fucking Chiefs. Why are you even bothering to kick a field goal? Just go for it on every fourth down. If you score 0 points, like who gives a shit? No one expected you to win the game. Your only chance is literally go for it every time.
Agreed.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They're brutal. You got to think they'd have a better quarterback somewhere, but I guess not.
Bucks, Saints, that was pretty rough. Commanders, Eagles. Man, AJ Brown. Holy fuck. He went
Was it a 40-point game, or I only seen highlights of it?
Yeah, no, I have him in tons and tons of leagues. He's like one of my most drafted like first round wide receivers. And boy, howdy, that man went off. It was like him and Nino were like the two highest scoring. He had one touchdown where it was like he caught it and then just like cut back and was like just running through dudes. And then he had another nice one after. Dude. But like the fact that the Commanders like fought through and like turned, like I think they took it to overtime.
They did 34-31 in OT.
Yeah,
No.
crazy, dude. Sam Howell, shout out to him because he got massacred last week, like Nathan Peterman level almost. So for him to come back and like have a good game against the Eagles, that's impressive.
Yeah, see, I sold him last week in a dynasty league where I decided I might actually be a contender. And then halfway through the week, I was like, oh, I kind of regret that because I always thought Sam Howell had potential. And then he got massacred. So I was like, oh, I guess. And I ended up buying him back really low. And after this week, I'm kind of glad that I did buy him back, pretty low because I thought he looked good. He's got a great arm for big-time throws. He just makes some bad decisions and they just got to work on the mental aspect and not turning the ball over so much. I think he's going to be good though, and he has a good rushing floor.
I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the Manders in the offseason. I think I would be remiss if they let go of Rivera and the coaching staff because I feel like they've done like a really good job with the pieces that they have. And it's like if you try and get rid of them and keep Howell, I feel like that's going to be disaster for his career. So it's like at this point, you've got Bieniemy in there. Rivera and Bieniemy are like a good 1-2 combo, but Bieniemy is going to have to move on at some point because he should be a head coach. It's crazy to me that he's not already. Especially, honestly, fucking fire all of the Steelers coaches. I'm done. I love Mike Tomlin. I love the man.
Well, not Mike Tomlin. Don't fire Mike Tomlin.
Fire his ass. I'm done. I'm completely done. The fact that he would defend Matt Canada still at this point, like I'm done with even Tomlin, and I love him. But
I would kind of have to say that.
Let him go and bring in Eric Bieniemy. Like
I think he kind of has to say that
decision.
I don't know. Like this feels like one of those ones where he kind of has to say that, and then he's just gonna go fire him during the week.
Dude, if he's not like. He should have been fired like after week 2. It's crazy that this is still like happening. And they just got smacked around by the Texans. Like this is embarrassing. If he's still, this is like the litmus test then. If Matt Canada is still the offensive coordinator for week 5 of NFL football, then Mike Tomlin by all rights should be fired too. And I don't have any joy in saying that. I said earlier, I'm not like one of these like super reactionary. This is literally the first time I've ever said my dad's like been more on this train than me in the past because he's like a diehard Steelers fan. But I've always stood by Tomlin. This is the first year where I'm like, clearly your decision making and your ability to like read people and like fit people into roles is like diluted in some way. If in any way, shape, or form you think Matt Canada has been even remotely successful at this job, like it's a fucking travesty. Any Madden Muppet who plays that game could coach better than fucking Matt Canada. Like I'm over this shit.
I like the way you say that. Madden Muppet.
Last couple games here, Bengals, Titans. Dude, what is up with fucking Joe Burrow? So people lambasted my trade, made fun of me for my trade, Josh Allen and Drake London for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, 100% redraft and a free league. And I was like, I'm 1-2. And I was like, if I keep eating L's with Burrow, like this team's cooked, even if no matter how good Jamar Chase is. And it's redraft, it's a Twitter league, it's like a bunch of people who like aren't super like they're like savvy players, like they all joined on a Twitter league with another analyst. So I just was like, fuck it, I just want Josh Allen, and I'm just gonna go all in on getting Josh Allen. Basically, I'm gonna trade Burrow and Chase, Allen, and I threw in Drake London, thinking like they're gonna hate Drake London so much and want to get rid of him so much that they won't even think about the fact that they're letting go of Josh Allen. And that's basically like what I did. And so Josh Allen today has outscored Joe Burrow on the entire fucking season. And no matter how good Jamar Chase is, he's out here, having interviews with the media like this.
I'm open. I'm always fucking open. Excuse my profanity. I'm sorry.
He's not wrong.
So I'm saying like it's bad with the Bengals right now, and now they're cooked on the season basically, right? So what the fuck?
Yeah, they're getting to the point where you can't even trade all of them because now the value is so low, you're not going to get anything back. They're just avoids, I guess. There's nothing you can do. Just avoid them all.
So now I look crazy like a fox for fucking trading for Josh Allen and Drake London last week. Drake London, as shitty as he was, he had a touchdown. He had basically the same amount of points as Jamar Chase in standard. In PPR, Chase still outscored him, but in standard scoring, they were the same.
That game, London and Calvin Ridley were both saved by a touchdown. They both had crappy days that were saved by a touchdown. So
yeah,
but I don't know how much I trust that.
Oh, I don't. I'm not saying I trust, but Josh Allen was the whole. For me, I was like, I'm upgrading massively from Burrow to Josh Allen because I felt like Josh Allen was being weirdly undervalued.
Yeah, I don't know if Josh Allen could be undervalued, but he certainly was awesome today. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, in the sense of like, I don't know, people were just kind of like, oh, just this idea that he wasn't still like the best fantasy quarterback to own besides Patrick Mahomes. Like, I understand Jalen Hurts has been a touch more consistent because of the tush push. Or how I prefer the crack attack. That's what I prefer.
Good God.
But yeah, the afternoon games were fucking slaughters. We don't even really need to talk about them, honestly. Raiders Chargers just was boring and sucked. Devontae got hurt and came back in, so thank God for that. I thought the injury gods were going to take another one from us because I saw on Twitter someone put out like separated shoulder, broken collarbone. I was like, no, and then like literally, I reposted it and then I had to like change the tweet to be like, oh, he's actually back in the game playing. Pats, Cowboys, that was obvious. Cowboys defense, holy fuck. They literally are tilting matchups week to week.
They had 2 pick sixes, right?
Yeah, there was a guy losing in my home league, $1,000 grand prize, and he was losing. He was about to be 1-3. Cowboys defense brought him all the way back to win by like 1.5, and he's now going to be 2-2. It's crazy, dude. Cowboys defense, one of the best fantasy assets to own. And then Cardinals 49ers, holy fuck, is Christian McCaffrey good at football?
This is news to you?
I forgot to put in the I was wrong part. George Kittle, man, what the fuck? Like, even with Debo banged up, and, you know, Debo didn't do anything, but that was kind of, like, potentially foreseeable. But, dude, George Kittle has been a ghost. And against Arizona defense, like, they give it up to tight ends. So that's been disappointing. My best ball mania team is sad.
No targets for Debo?
Performing is Kittle.
Debo, no targets, though, with 3 carries. That's it.
Yeah, no, it was brutes. Couple of things to wrap up. I'll just pull up. So Hearts and Farts basically is like the studs and duds version that I do. So we'll just jump into the Hearts first. So I'll just run through these super fast. For quarterback on the Hearts, Josh Allen, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson, Joshua Dobbs, and Justin Herbert. Baker Mayfield being on that list. Baker Mayfield's been like a really surprising player. Any thoughts on just Baker? And, you know, Mike Evans pulled the hammy, so that sucks. But him going forward, if Mike Evans is not in this offense, can you still trust Baker as a streaming option if you have one of these like really struggling quarterbacks?
That was surprising because the Saints' pass defense is not someone I wanted to target. You knew Mike Evans was going to suck because he can't beat Marshawn Lattimore, so he probably faked the hammy. But I don't know. Baker's getting to the point where, like, if I'm playing him over Kenny Pickett at this point, I think you have to. I know that.
Well, I mean, Pickett's done.
The Bucks offense looks better than I expected. So he's out producing Joe Burrow. I don't think I really, I don't want to be starting him, but I'm not terrified to start him.
So we'll get into the duds of quarterback too. Just we'll throw it out right quick. Dak Prescott. The Cowboys are crushing every game, and Dak Prescott is crushing your fantasy dreams. I don't think even his best game this year is like 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, nothing on the ground. So like his best game is 20 points. Again today, he was under, I think, 15 fantasy points. Yeah. He's doing fuck all, and they're crushing the opponents. This was always kind of my concern with like how they were going to run the offense in general. But with the defense being as good as it is, it's like they don't even fucking need him.
It's weird because like CeeDee Lamb was good and Tony Pollard was useless. So I don't know where all the points came from in this game, but well, you answered it, I guess. The defense, yeah. So
well, and the thing, so with Pollard, I've been wrong all year. This was actually the first game where this was literally the game script and scheme that I was worried about. When I did your show, I had Tony Pollard as a bust. So technically I've been wrong about that. But I said on that show that I was always worried that the scheme for Schottenheimer is to run it up the center's ass. That's what they do, is a shitty inside zone that's terrible and predictable. But the defense is so good that it literally doesn't matter. They just need to run the air out of the ball anyways. It's like that was McCarthy's plan the whole time, basically. So, like, the offense is unusable almost. Besides, like, you can throw CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard out there week to week, but I wouldn't be playing Dak. And I feel like the perception of the Cowboys and Dak is such that you can still trade him for value. And I would be actively trading him in every possible shape, way, form. Doesn't matter the league format. Dynasty, redraft, doesn't fucking matter. Get rid of this man as soon as you possibly can because he is killing your fantasy team.
I don't know if he's killing me. Like, I started him in one league. He gave me 20 points. Well, just under 19.59, but so he's not killing me. Like Mac Jones on the other side put up 3 points. That was brutal. So I don't know if he's killing you. He's just not doing much. He's just kind of someone he's there and filling a spot.
If it's like a deep league, I see that. But I was looking in maybe the scoring's different, but I was looking in my Yahoo league and then one of my sleeper leagues, and I think maybe it's those ones might be 4-point scoring instead of 6.
This is 6. I don't think I play in any 4-point scoring.
Yeah, I'd have to double check that, but the bottom line is like even today, like I said, they crushed. It was like 38-3, and it was like he had 150 yards and a touchdown. Like the upside isn't there. Yeah.
No, he had 261 and a touchdown.
Oh, that was 261 and a touch today.
Yeah, he wasn't terrible. He didn't kill you. He didn't win you the week. He wasn't terrible.
That's the thing is like he's in real life. So the real life doesn't equate to the fantasy. He was like 28 for 34. He had an excellent like real life game, but then like for fantasy, it's like I guess comparative to like all the you look at how good Justin Fields was for fantasy, for example, compared to like Dak Prescott's not sniffing that right now. No. I guess I'm more saying that the ceiling and upside just isn't there. It doesn't exist in this offense. And
no, it doesn't. They're just so good that this is the way it goes. So he's just going to be a QB too. He's going to be a top 15 quarterback, but not higher than 8 or 10.
So I don't know that he cracks top 15 with how good some of the.
Got to be higher than that right now.
I guess double check on league settings, but like. Because wouldn't Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield, some of those guys be ahead?
He's 22 right now, but I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like he's better than that. I'm surprised that I don't know.
It's because it's in real life, he is doing really well, but it doesn't equate to the fantasy production because the team around him doesn't need him to be good, basically. Like in terms of like, they don't need 303. They need just a very efficient 201, and that's what they're getting. That's what they're doing.
Well, no, that's exactly it. You're just going to get efficiency, but you're not going to get much. You're going to get Brock Purdy, Jimmy G kind of numbers, maybe a little more, I think. But I don't know. He's definitely not my target. I'm not actively trading him away. He's just, I don't know. He's just there for me.
Well, like, so if you could trade Dak for Stroud right now in a redraft.
Yeah, the upside's there. That's probably a good play.
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, honestly, if you could trade Dak and if let's say you're the Najee owner, all right? If you could trade Dak and Brian Robinson, maybe. I feel like you could target him. So if you could flip Dak and Najee for Brian Robinson and like Baker Mayfield, I would even do that.
Yeah, I'd rather have him than Baker. I like the CJ Stroud 1-for-1. Maybe you can just cash in on Dak's name, but I don't want to downgrade to Baker. I think Baker's a mirage, but
maybe without Evans, I would agree. But if Mike Evans is like healthy, like rest of the season, because just again, the way that the Bucs need Mike, like they need Baker to do more to win games than Dak. Basically, that's what it is. Jumping into running backs, CMC crushed the world. David Montgomery from the Thursday game was amazing.
I only got a few more minutes there, Jack. Sorry. Okay. I got an issue going on with my kid. Sorry.
No problem. We're going to smash through these super, super fast then. Running backs, Kyron Williams, Josh Jacobs, Khalil Herbert, Bijan, Jaleel McLaughlin, Swift, Kamara, James Cook, Pierce Madison, Najee B-Rob. On the farts, Tony Pollard, Gibbs, Ford, Connor, Sanders, Zeke and Ramondre sucked. Javonte got knocked out with the hip. Aaron Jones sucked. Raheem Mostert sucked. Algier, A.J. Dillon. Wide receivers, AJB, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs, Puka Nakua, DJ Moore, JJ, Michael Wilson, Ayuk. And then on the fart side, the Dolphins weren't that great. Nuke, Olave, Debo, Mike Evans, all that. Tight ends, Mark Andrews smash, Cole Kmet smash, Jonnu Smith, ha ha ha. Kyle Pitts on the farts, Dallas Goedert fart, Hawkinson fart. We'll skip the defense. We'll get you on out of here. Give us a couple of shout outs and we'll wrap this up.
Check me out over on Mad Science Lab Fantasy Football and check me out on the League Winners. Find me on Twitter at FFMadScientist. That's where I post pretty much everything, man. Thanks for having me.
Aaron, thank you for joining. And as always, Aaron's on the list. The list of Joker, the graphic is made. It's the official new end of the show, the new ending segment. Thanks once again for joining. Catch you all on the flip side.
You just made the list! You just made the list! Oh my God. You just made the list! You just made the list! The stupid soccer mom's hair! You just made the list!
Now, she's reporting her neighbor, who's ex-Catholic by her demand, and Larry's supposed to talk to. Well, she doesn't know what to do. She says we shop her for Colleyville. Says she hates me ever since I arrived. Says I'm not allowed to go unheard. We got to a pizza challenging in court. That I will not be an occupant of an assembly hall in her state. They're there to say that she's having fun. Not with yet this policy. That's Limer says she just moved in. And that she just, she don't want the challenge. Here we go. She plays with Pittsburgh Steelers. She wants no Bowling Green in Ohio. That's bad luck, but that she wants someone else. Here we go. Here we go.